So I was using my Mac the other day and I saw that the kernel task was using a few 100% of my CPU, and I was trying to figure out why that is. And if you don't know, kernel task is what is responsible for keeping your Mac cool. So if your Mac starts getting really hot, then it kind of throttles everything your computer is doing just so that it doesn't overheat and break. But by doing that, it starts to use a lot of CPU, which causes everything to slow down as far as the operating system, in addition to all your programs and everything. I went and bought a 360 camera the other day, and while I was editing the footage, you can see here that it's very choppy. It goes frame by frame. It doesn't really do very well. Right off the bat, it works pretty okay. Like, I would consider this pretty okay. But then after a little bit, then it just starts to go one frame per 30 seconds or per minute, and it's terrible to edit with. And my first impression was that it was the RAM that I was having an issue with. And so I went and upgraded my RAM, but then it was still going really slow and really choppy. Like, it's this choppy on 16 gigabytes of RAM, and then as the video progresses, the choppier it gets. So then I started looking into my activity monitor, and I found that my kernel task was using a lot of my CPU percentage. So right now it's only at 17%, but if I let this play a little bit longer, then you'll see it'll get upwards of 100%. Starting to get super choppy, and my kernel task is well over 100%. It was at one point upwards of 200% CPU usage, and I was trying to figure out how I can solve this issue. Turns out it's really simple. All I did was buy a stand with fans on it that I can set my computer on. So kernel task is just because the computer is overheating. So I bought this cooling stand with 5 fans on it, and now whenever I play a video through and go to edit this 360 video, although it is very intensive on my 2012 MacBook Pro, it does still play through with the kernel task not really reaching over 10% of the CPU usage, whereas before it was going upwards of 200%, which allowed for very clean playthrough of the video and allowed for very easy editing. Just for comparison, here's the exact same video being played through, except now it has the 5 external fans underneath it. And if you keep an eye on how smooth the video is and how quickly it gets to that minute, and keep an eye on the kernel task highlighted in blue, you'll see that it doesn't get very high in the video overall, even past that 1 minute mark where it extremely got throttled before. So there you have it. This video has been going on for over 1:40, and it still is pretty smooth, and I haven't seen kernel task use over 30% of the CPU, whereas before it was upwards of 300% at some points. So yeah, very quick and easy way to fix the kernel task issue. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did like it, please leave a like below so we can help other people with this issue. It'll only cost you about 30 bucks overall. And I definitely wish I knew about this before I went and upgraded the RAM, because although it's great, I did have okay RAM before, so I didn't really need an upgrade. So I didn't do much for my computer, but the external fans only cost 30 bucks while the RAM upgrade costs over $100 to do. So I wish I spent the $30 sooner as opposed to over the 100. Another thing you can do if you want to fix the issue really quick and not wait for an ordered item to come in is, since it is a heat issue, if your MacBook is plugged in charging, then you can simply unplug the charger and it should immediately drop the kernel task percentage, because it will get a little bit cooler from that. However, for me, since my 2012 MacBook, the battery isn't very well and the battery percentage doesn't last more than like 30 minutes whenever I'm using it full time, I just have it hooked up to my TV screen as an external monitor and leave it plugged in charging at all times. So I did want something that was more permanent and would be a constant fix as opposed to just a temporary fix by unplugging the charger.